Hello everybody, this is Pradeep, a lecturer of English from Vishwamanava Composite PU College, Chitradurga. I have been here to deal with the rest part of your short play A Sunny Morning. Now we are all on our third session going through this short play. Now I would like to welcome you all back to our third session here and today. Before letting you people to know more about this play, I must tell you one thing, that is, the story is a romantic and comedy. Coming onto the term of romantic, what do we really get to see is that there is a romantic love story in between the two major characters, Donalara and Don Gonzalo, when they were youngsters. They had fallen in love for each other for a long time. But soon after, the cruel fate or a destiny that came in and had interrupted them in loving each other for a long time. That's why they departed each other and their love that came to an end. And this is all about romantic, how it is being used in the present context of this story of Sunny Morning. Coming onto the another term, comedy, what do we see is that the story is narrated in a humorous vein. Wherever we see until we get the end of this story, the element of humorous conversation that is being woven together through the entire story. Besides having seen these two, romantic and comedy, what do we further get to see is that the literary device, that is satire or an irony, that is being used in this story. Now, I am speaking about an irony. You people must ask yourself a question, what is meant by an irony or a satire? It is a literary device where we can use a witty language to reveal our scorn or scolding to someone else, especially saying something but implying different or opposite to the other. Here is an instance with me or an example that is taking out from the play A Sunny Morning, when the female protagonist Donalara sees the approaching of the pigeons towards her, she says, "Here they come. They now just went to expect me." The two sentences that indicates the usage of satire, which means here they come. The word in the previous class, when I started discussing or presenting my views over this line, here they come, I told you people the word they that refers to the pigeons, but it indirectly implies something different from the pigeons, that is, they come. At the meantime, the male protagonist Don Gonzalo, along with his male servant Zunaito, they have entered into the park. So, here we certainly come to know that how the literary device, irony or satire, has been used in this present story of A Sunny Morning. Now I am going ahead to make you people to recall what I presented in the previous class. In the previous class, we got to see the male characters Don Gonzalo along with his servant Zunaito came in, and both of them entered into the park from the left side. Here, Don Gonzalo's character was introduced to us as an old gentleman who was around 70 years of age. He had developed a kind of disease in his leg that could give him a lot of pain, and he seemed to be an impatient one. He had lost his temperament, which means he had lost his patience in a sense. When he entered into the park, he had put his arms over the shoulders of Zunaito, and he had dragged his foot all along the way in the park wherever he had walked on. And soon after Don Gonzalo entering into the park, he had seen the presence of the three priests sitting on his bench. When he came to know the three priests were sitting on his bench, he was frustrated. He got angry. So, with the frustration, he said that all the three priests were simply wasting their time. Instead of praying to the God in the church, they were simply wasting their time sitting inside the park. And his servant Zunaito suggested Don Gonzalo that he could sit on a bench where Donalara was sitting all alone. She was the only lady who was sitting alone on one of the bench at the corner of a park. After having heard these words from Don Gonzalo and Zunaito, Donalara turned her attention and started listening to them. After having heard those words from Zunaito to be seated on the bench where Donalara was sitting, Don Gonzalo rejected his offer, saying that he wouldn't sit on the bench because he wanted to have a bench for himself. He must sit all alone on his own bench. Zunaito discovered by looking all around the park that he found no bench existing without being occupied by any wanderer in the park. No bench was left empty or vacant. This is how the conversation took place between Gonzalo and Zunaito. And later, Don Gonzalo asked Zunaito a question whether the three priests had gone out of the bench. Zunaito replied him saying that no, they were still talking to each other in reality. There was no sign at all of their leaving out of the bench. After coming to know, there was no sign or mark of their going outside of the bench. Don Gonzalo advised his Zunaito to go out of the place, and both of them started moving each other towards the right side of the park where some pigeons were feeding on the crumbs which were thrown by Donalara. When Donalara had seen all the birds were scared away onto the branches of the tree, when Don Gonzalo and Zunaito came across them, she got furiated. She got angry. That's why, with the frustration and angry, Donalara told Gonzalo that to look out, which means they should be very careful while walking in the park. After having heard her words, Don Gonzalo asked Donalara that Are you speaking to me, Senora? I told people the other day the meaning that is associated with the word Senora. It is a Spanish term addressing to a woman in Spain, which is similar to a in Miss or Madam in English language. Don Gonzalo asked her a question whether she was speaking to him or not. Donalara responded him saying that yes, I was addressing to you only. This is how the conversation took place in between Don Gonzalo and Donalara initially when they met each other for the first time after their love was departed. And Donalara gave Don Gonzalo a reason why she was complaining against him. After seeing the pigeons being scared and had flown towards the branches of the tree, she gave him a reason, that is, you, which means Don Gonzalo, had scared away the birds which were feeding or eating on her crumbs which were thrown by her to get those pigeons out of the starvation. But Don Gonzalo reacted her saying that he didn't show a care about the birds, whereas Donalara told Don Gonzalo that but she cared about the birds. Don Gonzalo retorts Donalara saying that this is a public park to where every citizen or resident of Madrid city would come in and go out. This is a position of the public. Every one of this Madrid city had a liberty to come in. Everybody can climb it as their own. They can use the public park and they can use this park. Everybody must be allowed into the park. That's why Gonzalo reacted her saying that this is a public park. When she heard these words from Gonzalo, Donalara, she realized that when he entered into the park, after seeing the presence of those priests sitting on his bench, he has complained against them. That's why now she recalled this incident. So she had asked Don Gonzalo a question: why did you earlier complain that those three priests had occupied your bench? Why did you complain against them? Why did you file a complaint against those three priests? Don Gonzalo wanted to snub her. He wanted to escape from Donalara, saying that Senora, which means Madam, we haven't met each other so far. Both of them were not familiar each other. That's why he keeps saying that even he can't imagine why she takes such a liberty of addressing him. That's why he asked her, telling that even he cannot imagine why she takes such a freedom of speaking to him as they are not familiar each other. And after saying these words, Don Gonzalo has carried his Zuneto along with him onto the right side of the park. Both of them start going towards the right side of the park. This is where I stopped presenting my views over this short play in the previous class. Let us make a move on to the rest part of our short play. Here, Donalara says herself that what an ill-natured old man, which means after having heard his words, that is, when he doesn't want to hear her words for more, he takes his presence out of her. So he has taken away his Zunaito away from her. When she sees his actions, she says that he is an ill natured old man. She knows the fact that he is similar to the age of hers. That's why she says that his actions that makes her to be irritated. Ill natured means an irritating man, an irritating old man he is. That's why she says that he is an ill-natured or irritated old man, as she is irritated by the actions of this Don Gonzalo. She says like this, and she has asked herself a question over here, that is, why must people get so fussy? Which means when a person, after crossing a certain age, after reaching a old age, why those people get so fussy or an unhappyful man in their life? Fussy in a sense, unhappy. And you people might have seen some old men or women in your surrounding, that how they become childish in their nature after crossing a certain age. Even age of 60, that would make those old men or women to become upset in their life. This is seen in your surrounding places. That's why she has asked herself a question, that why must people get so upset and cross in a sense, which means so angry, and all of a sudden those old people get so angry, which means arrogant, when they reach a certain age, like our Don Gonzalo. Now he is on the verge of a 70 years of old. After having crossed a 70 years of old, in every of his action, when something dislikes happen, he becomes so arrogant in his nature. That's why she realizes that when a person crosses a certain age of 60 or 70, she doesn't understand why do they become so upset in nature, and why do those people get angry after having crossed a certain age, like Don Gonzalo, after having seen his actions in the park, looking toward the right. Now she stares or looks towards the right side of the park, where both Gonzalo and Zunaito keep moving toward the right side of the park. At the direction of Don Gonzalo and Zunaito, she keeps looking at the direction where they go. And after having seen their going, she feels very glad. Glad in the sense happy. She feels very happy after seeing those two people going towards the right side. And he lost that bench too. And she says herself that Don Gonzalo has lost that bench too. She finds the fact that Don Gonzalo has lost, he doesn't acquire any bench in the park. That's why that makes her to feel very happy. Now she is in a happy mood after finding Don Gonzalo discovering no bench at all in the park. That's why that makes her to feel very happy after finding he loses that bench too. And she keeps saying that serves him right for scaring away the birds. You people might have heard this kind of a sentence surrounding you. Especially this can be said by the children when they are playing along with their friends. When someone falls down, when when someone dislikes anyone, when someone's enemy falls down onto the earth by slipping their foot, they would say, ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು ನಿನಗೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. It is especially seen in rural areas. This is what does this sentence mean. Serves him right for scaring away the birds, which means ಆ ಪಿಜನ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಭಯಗೊಳಿಸಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಡೊನಾಲರ್ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಗಮನಿಸಬಹುದಾಗಿದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಓವರ್ ಇಯರ್. ಶಿ ಸೇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಹಿಮ್ ರೈಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಕೇರಿಂಗ್ ಅವೇ ದ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ scaring away the birds. He is the main reason for scaring away those birds which were feeding or eating on her crumbs thrown by her. That's why she says herself that serves him right for scaring away the birds. He is so furious when he keeps going along with his servant Zunaito. He becomes so furious after finding no bench at all in the park. He keeps moving onto the right side of the park. He gets angry, he gets irritated too. And she keeps saying that, yes, find a seat if you can. If possible, you can find a seat, she says herself. If you have the ability, if you can find a seat, you can. You go forward and keep searching for a seat where you please to sit on, where you feel happy to sit on. If you can, you go forward and find it out. And now she sympathizes with the condition of Don Gonzalo, saying that poor man. Now she shows her mercy over Don Gonzalo, saying that poor man. He is wiping the perspiration from his face as he feels exhausted, as he is tired walking along with his Zunaito in the park, finding no bench at all. Now he is wiping, which means rubbing, the perspiration that is being produced out of his face. Perspiration means it is a salty fluid, which means a sweat. Sweat has been produced out of his face. Now he is wiping or rubbing the sweat that is out from his face. Here he comes, and she keeps saying that again, here he comes. Now it refers to Don Gonzalo. The word he refers to Don Gonzalo. After having seen the coming of Don Gonzalo towards something else as he keeps moving, she says that here again he comes on the same path. A carriage wouldn't rise more dust than his feet. And she keeps saying that a carriage, which means a huge vehicle, when it moves on a dirty road, when the dust is fallen everywhere on the street or a road, when the carriage or huge vehicle that goes on the road, even it wouldn't rise or create a more dust than his feet does. That much of a dust has been created by his foot as he drags his foot all along the way where he walks on the park. That's why she says us that even a huge vehicle, it wouldn't create a more dust than his feet does. Now enter Gonzalo and Zunaito by right and walk toward the left. Both Gonzalo and Zunaito enter or come from the right side and they start or keep walking toward the left side of the park. Don Gonzalo, have the priests gone at Zunaito? While moving each other, Don Gonzalo has asked his servant Zunaito a question over here. That is, whether those three priests have gone at Zunaito, you must look over them. This is what he has asked Zunaito here. Don Gonzalo wanted to have his own bench to sit on. That's why he has asked this question. Have they gone at? Have those three priests gone at Zunaito? Out of the presence of the bench, which is Zunaito. No, indeed, Senor. After finding those three priests sitting all together, indeed, he tells Don Gonzalo that no, they are still there talking to each other, sir. And now I make you people to recall the term Senorio. That is, I told you in our previous class that Senor is a Spanish term that is especially addressed to men in Spain. That is similar to sir in English language. They are still talking each other, sir. This is what is told to Don Gonzalo by Zunaito. They are still there. All those three priests are sitting there only. Don Gonzalo, after having heard those words from Zunaito, he says that the authorities should place more benches here for these sunny mornings, as they are on the sunny morning, as many residents or citizens of Madrid Park would come inside and go outside of the park, and as many people would come in to spend their whole leisure time, spend their entire day in the park with their beloved ones. Those people would come in, especially in these sunny mornings, as these sunny mornings would give them much warmth to them. So Don Gonzalo says himself that the concerned authorities or the bureaucrats, one who have more power over this park, should place or put more benches for the sake of the people or resident of the Madrid, to provide them a seat to sit on, especially in these sunny mornings. The people should get the more seats. Here are only a few benches have been placed. That's why the concerned authorities should put more benches for the sake of the people to sit on. Well, I suppose I must resign myself and sit on the bench with the old lady. Which means, reason means he must accept as it is inevitable. He has found no bench at all except one bench on which Donalara sits on. That's why I suppose, he says that, I suppose, in a sense, he imagines that I must reason, which means, reason means the necessity that he has found that makes him to take his seat along with this female protagonist, Donna Lara. I must reason, which means he must accept his condition or position where he can't find any bench except the bench on which this lady sits on. That's why he must accept his reason. In a sense, he must accept the position where it is inevitable to him, where it is necessary for him to take the seat along with this lady. He must accept himself and sit on the bench with the old lady, and he must find himself a position where he can sit with the old lady. That's why he accepts himself that to sit on the same bench with the old lady where she sits on the bench, muttering to himself in a very low voice, muttering in a sense very low voice, which means whispering. Now he whispers himself, that is, now he grumbles himself, that is, he sits at the extreme end of Donalara's bench. He mutters like this, that I must resign or accept my position myself, and I must sit on the same bench where the old lady sits on. This is how he mutters this sentence over here. And now he sits at the extreme end of the Donalara's bench. He comes very nearer to the bench where Donalara sits on the bench, and he comes very nearer, and he uses to sit on the same bench where Donalara sits on, and he sits at the extreme end. He sits at the end of her bench where Donalara is sitting, and looks at her indignantly. And he wouldn't throw away his anger. Still, he is left in a angry. That's why he keeps looking at her. He keeps staring at her very angrily. That's what we call indignantly, angrily. Touches his hat as he greets her. Now he consoles himself by touching his hat. When you wear a hat on your head, when you put yourself in a position where you can wish someone else, you can touch your hat. When you start wishing them, that is what is done by Don Gonzalo here. Now he touches his hat when he moves forward to wishes her by saying good morning. When he starts wishing her after having seated on the same bench with this old woman, he touches his hat as he wants to wishes her. Now he wishes her saying that good morning. Let us make a move on to the another slide. Here, Donalara, after having seen the presence of Don Gonzalo along with her on the same bench, Donalara has asked Don Gonzalo a question over here. What? You are here again? Donalara has asked him a question. To her surprise, Don Gonzalo is there sitting along with her. That's why, after having seen the presence of this Don Gonzalo, she has asked him a question. Are you here again? Why would you come back, which means why would you come back again? In a sense, she has asked this question. Are you here again? Don Gonzalo, I repeat that we haven't met each other. Again, he has produced the same words, as he made a mention of these words at the beginning of the story when he starts conversing with this old woman Lara at the beginning of the story. Now he says that he tells Donalara that I repeat that we haven't met each other so far until this moment when both of them are seated on the same bench. Both of them aren't met each other, but they do not aware that they were in love at their younger age in this stage. That's why Don Gonzalo unknowingly tells Donalara that we haven't met each other so far, which means both of them, which means I haven't been, or we haven't been familiar each other. We are completely strangers, which means we have been meeting each other for the first time here in this park. That's why no need to have more arguments with in between us. That's why he doesn't want to have a much conversation with her. That's why he retorts telling her that we haven't met each other. That's why no more conversation should take place in between us. Donalara, I was only responding to you, to your salute. When she sees his wishes, when he has made a wish by saying a good morning, when she comes to know, when she witnesses his actions of touching his ad, when she wishes a good morning towards this Donalara, she intends to talk with this Don Gonzalo, saying that she was only reacting to his salute when he has produced his salute saying a good morning to this Donalara. He was only reacting to his salute instead of having a conversation with him. He was only responding or reacting to his salute when he produced by touching his hat saying a good morning to her. Don Gonzalo, good morning should only be answered by good morning. He has advised Donalara saying that I have wished you good morning. That good morning, when I produced a good morning to you, it should be answered by good morning only. Instead of reacting, instead of responding or giving me an answer towards anything, towards my actions, my verbal actions of good morning should only be answered by the good morning, which means so now he has advised her saying that my good morning should only be answered, should only be done through a good morning only, which means so you should tell me good morning only. That is all should you have said, which means instead of showing any actions in front of me, that is what you should have said or done before me. This is what Don Gonzalo says here. Instead of saying anything, instead of showing any actions before me, you should have said only good morning to my good morning. Donalara, you should have asked permission to sit on this bench which is mine. On hearing his words, Donalara tells Don Gonzalo that before sitting on my bench which belongs to me, which is a possession of me, you should have asked permission to sit on this bench which belongs to me only. As this bench is mine, as I claim myself that this bench only belongs to me, you should have asked my permission before sitting on it. This is very right thing to Don Lara to say, as he has claimed that you should tell me a good morning. She has also claimed that you should have asked my permission before sitting on this bench which belongs to me only. Before, without asking any permission of her, he used to sit on it. That's why she has suggested Don Gonzalo like this. You should have asked my permission before sitting on this bench. Don Gonzalo, the benches here are public property. Again, he has insisted this sentence in front of Donalara, saying that the benches here in this park are the public property. Every one of us, every resident, as I told people earlier, every resident or citizen of this Madrid city have the liberty to take themselves into the park, and they would go everywhere in the park because this is a public property. This park belongs to everyone. Everyone has the liberty or freedom to take themselves in the park. Everyone can take everywhere in the take himself or herself everywhere in the park. That's why he says Donalara that this is a public property. That's why I need not to ask your permission. He says like this. Donalara, why you said the one the priests have was yours, earlier. Now she has made a mention over here as she did it in at the beginning of the story. In the earlier part of this story of the sunny morning, there we came to know that she has asked this question: why have you complained against those priests who have occupied your bench? Again she made use she has made use of the same sentence over here. You said the one of the bench the priests have occupied was yours. Why have you said like that? Why have you filed a complaint against those three priests, as this park that belongs to everybody, not only to you, every citizen of this? She admits, she agrees with the previous statement of this Don Gonzalo. It is a public property. Now she admits that yes, of course it is a public property. Every one of the resident of this Madrid city would take any benches. Why have you that's why she has asked this question: why have you filed a complaint against those three priests that they have occupied the bench that was yours only? The bench that they used to sit on, that belongs to them also. Why do you say like that? Why have you asked such a question earlier? This is what now she has mentioned over here. Don Gonzalo, very well, very well, very well, in the sense of all right. Now he admits or accepts with the opinion of this Donalara. That's why he has made use of the word very well. All right, I have nothing more to say. He has found himself no words in him to have conversation with her. That's why he says, he tells Donalara that he has nothing to say more. He has found nothing in him to let his conversation to go forward along with this Donalara. Between his teeth, amidst of all his teeth, he has grumbled something, which means when again he gets infuriated, he becomes very angry. That's why in between all of his teeth, he has muttered something, he has grumbled something, that is senile old lady. The word, the term senile, that refers to, that describes us when someone loses his temperament, which means when someone loses his consciousness about when someone loses his consciousness, when someone loses his mental ability. This word indicates the mental ability that is being lost by someone else. That's what we call senile old lady. Now she loses her mental faculty, mental ability. Now she is like a crazy in a sense. That is what he is trying to say himself. That is what he mutters himself, senile old lady, which means the old woman. Now the old woman has shown herself that now she loses her mental ability. That's what we call senile old lady. She ought to be at home knitting or counting her beads. Now Don Gonzalo mutters himself without letting now this Donalara that she ought to be at home knitting. She has advised. Now he mutters himself that she ought to be, which means ought to be in a sense she should be, or we can say that she had to be. She should be at her home knitting by taking some threads in her hand. She must weave something that is and that is a beads. He has made a reference of the beads. What do we call it in Kannada is that ಮಣಿ ಕೊರಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಮಣಿಗಳು. ಅಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಮಣಿಗಳನ್ನು ಆಕೆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ, ಅಂದರೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಕುಳಿತುಕೊಂಡು ಎಣೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ, ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನು ಜಪವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ, ಕೌಂಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಜಪವನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೇಯರನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನು ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಶಿ mutters himself that she should be at her home knitting or weaving those beads, and she must start counting those beads while she is praying to the God. It should be more better to her staying at home, knitting and counting those beads. Donalara, don't grumble anymore. When he has grumbled himself between his teeth, now those actions have been observed by Donalara. That's why she forces Don Gonzalo not to grumble anymore. She doesn't want to see is this kinds of actions from this Don Gonzalo. That's why she has urged Don Gonzalo not to mutter or grumble anymore. She doesn't want to see such kind of actions from him. I am not going to leave just to please you. I won't leave this place only to make you to feel happy. Please, in a sense, which means so happy, only to make you to feel happy. I want to leave this place. I will never ever leave this bench. I am not going away out of this bench only to make you to feel happy. This is what she tells Don Gonzalo over here. Don Gonzalo now he has shown some other actions over here. Now he takes one of the he takes out a handkerchief out of his pocket, and now he starts brushing the dust from his shoes. As he has walked many as he has walked much distance in the park along with his Zunaito, he has observed the falling of the dust on his shoes. That's why he takes out a handkerchief out of his he takes out a handkerchief from his pocket. Now after taking a handkerchief out of his pocket, he starts brushing the dust which is fallen on his which has fallen on his shoes. Now he starts rubbing the dust which has fallen on his shoes to rub it with his handkerchief. By using his handkerchief, he keeps brushing the dust out of from his shoes. If he says he mutters himself without letting Don Gonzalo to know that if the ground were sprinkled a little more, it would be an improvement. He keeps saying to himself that if the ground or the earth in the park is sprinkled or put some water on the surface of this earth, there might not be any dust on this. There might not be any position to let the dust to fall on my shoes or any other person's shoes. That's why if the ground or earth or floor on this park is sprinkled or put some water on it, there would be an improvement. It gets developed. There might not be any dust on any other person's shoes. That's why the park would be developed. It would be an improvement. That is what he is trying to say us here. Donalara, do you use your handkerchief as a shoe brush? After having seen his actions of brushing his shoes to remove the dust out of his shoes using his handkerchief, Donalara has asked him a question whether you have used your handkerchief to remove the dust as your shoe brush. When he starts moving forward to remove the dust out of his shoes, he keeps watching. After having seen his actions, Donalara has asked him a question: do you use your handkerchief? After having seen that he has used the handkerchief to remove the dust, she has asked him a question: Do you use your handkerchief to remove the dust as a shoe brush to remove the dust out of your shoes? Don Gonzalo, why not? He has given Donalara an answer in the form of a question. Why not? Why shouldn't I use my handkerchief as a shoe brush? It is it's mine. That's why I have every opportunity or liberty to use my handkerchief to remove the dust out of the shoe. Why shouldn't I use this handkerchief to remove the dust out of this shoe brush? Donalara, do you use a shoe brush as a handkerchief? However, as she has asked earlier a question, in contrast to the above sentence, in the form of a vice versa, she has further asked him a question. You use a shoe brush as your handkerchief to rub your face. Can you use or do you use your shoe brush to rub your face? Which means, do you use your handkerchief as a do you use your shoe brush as your handkerchief to use personally, in a sense? Don Gonzalo, what right have you to criticize my actions? Again, he gets infuriated hearing those words from Lara. That's why he has asked another question to Donalara. Here we can see many series of questions being asked between Donalara and Don Gonzalo. Again, Don Gonzalo has asked another question to Donalara, asking that what right have you to criticize my actions? He has produced an action where he can use his handkerchief to remove the dust out of his shoes. And after having received many questions from Donalara, Don Gonzalo has asked Donalara a question: what right you have to criticize my actions? Which means, why why do you comment over my actions? Which means, you don't have any liberty to criticize or comment on my actions. That is what he is trying to tell her. Which means, he doesn't want to take this Donalara to have some freedom or liberty to criticize his actions. That's why he has asked this question: you have no right at all to criticize or comment on my actions. That's why, what right you have? He has asked like this. Donalara, it's a neighbor's right. After being seated each other, after having seen Don Gonzalo, when he takes a seat besides this Donalara, when he comes next to her, Donalara, now she tells an answer to Don Gonzalo after having heard that question: what right have you to criticize my action? When she has heard this question from Don Gonzalo, she gives him an answer saying that it's a neighbor's right. Every neighbor has a right. It is of her opinion. She tells Don Gonzalo that it's a neighbor right. As I sit next to you, I have the liberty or freedom to ask you anything, as I am the part of this bench. Don Gonzalo, Zuneto, my book. I do not care to listen to nonsense. Now, Don Gonzalo again he is infuriated having heard those words from Lara. That's why now he has asked his servant to give him a book which has been carried into the park along with them. That's why Don Gonzalo wants to have a textbook from the hand of this Zunaito. That's why Don Gonzalo has asked Zunaito to give him a book. Now he wants to read the book. And he gives another reason why he wants to take the book from the hand of this Zunaito. He doesn't want to listen to the nonsense like the words of this Donalara. Now she only uh, speaks like on nonsense. Her words are like a nonsense. That's why he doesn't want to keep the conversation going between them. So he wants to read the book. So he has asked Zunaito to give him a book. Don Gonzalo, after having heard those words from Don Gonzalo, I do not care to listen to nonsense like this. So Donalara, after having heard these words from him, she comments or remarks Don Gonzalo, saying that you are very polite, which means she comments in the now she remarks Don Gonzalo, saying that you are very civilized person, you know how to behave in front of other people, you are a very matured man in the, which means now she is going to criticize his actions again. This is how the satire that lies among all the sentences in this present chapter. Now she comments saying that he is a very civilized man. He knows very well how to behave before any other member in the society. He is the only one who knows everything. You are a very polite man. You are a very kind man. That is what she is trying to tell Don Gonzalo here. Don Gonzalo, pardon me, Sinora. Pardon me, which means excuse me. Now he wants to ask her excuses. That's why Don Gonzalo tells her, pardon me, which means now he asks her excuses. Senora, which means madam, but never interfere with what doesn't concern to you. I will tell you one thing, that is, you must never interfere or get involved with what doesn't concern to you, with what isn't relevant to you. My actions aren't relevant to you. You don't know who am I. I also do not know who you are. That's why it could be more better concerning your own business. That's why he has suggested Lara, saying that you must never interfere or get involved with anyone's actions which doesn't concern to you, which aren't relevant to you. Let us make a move on to another slide here. Donalara, I generally say what I think. After having received those words from Don Gonzalo, Donalara tells Don Gonzalo that I generally or commonly say what I think. After having much more in my mind, what comes into my words, I just put down those words before you. That's all. That is what commonly I have in my mind. That is what I generally say before you or in front of you, what I have thought about. Don Gonzalo. And more to the same effect. The same effect has been given by you. Again, you are doing the same thing. Don Gonzalo keeps telling Donalara that the more effect has been given by you. Again you are talking to me. Again you are speaking to me. The same effect or impact is given to me. I can't tolerate, I can't bear those words. Now he wants to put an end to the conversation with this Donalara, and he wants to keep himself going through the textbook. He wants to read the textbook. That's why he tells Donalara that the same effect has been given by you. Give me the book, Zunaito. Now he turns towards his servant Zunaito, who has stood next to him, and now he turns his head or attention towards Zunaito to ask him a book. Zunaito, here Senor, after having received those words from Don Gonzalo, give me the textbook, Zunaito. Zunaito, he has handed over the textbook onto the hand of Don Gonzalo, saying, "Here, Senor, here is a textbook with me, you take it." By saying this, Zunaito has given the textbook onto the hand of Don Gonzalo. Zunaito takes a book from his pocket and sit to Don Gonzalo. Now it is said over here, Zunaito, he takes out a textbook out of his pocket. Earlier, when he has entered into the park, he has kept one of the textbook in his pocket. When when much conversation is happening or going amidst all the characters, when Zunaito is being requested or asked by, when he is asked by Gonzalo to give him a textbook, Zunaito, he has taken away one of the textbook outside of his pocket, and later he has handed it over to the hand of Don Gonzalo. Then he exits by right side, and after giving it over to Zunaito, he departs out of the presence of Don Gonzalo and Donalara after giving it to Don Gonzalo's hand. Towards the right side of the park, he has gone. Don Gonzalo, casting indignant glances at Donalara now after having received a textbook from Zunaito, Don Gonzalo now he puts himself in a position where he can cast his indignant look. Glances in a sense, it is a look. Now he cast, which means throws. He throws his indignant look, which means now still he is in an angry mood, though he has thrown his angry look towards Donalara as she is a part of the bench. As she sits next to him, now he has thrown a very angry look at Donalara. Now he has fixed his eyes over Donalara, puts on an enormous pair of glasses as he has received a book from Zunaito. He wants to read it. That's why he takes out one of the pair of glasses and he puts it on his eyes. That's why enormous, in a sense, a big pair of glasses. A pair of glasses has been taken away from him and he's put it on his eyes, which is very big in nature. Those that a pair of glasses has been put on his eyes as he starts as he wants to read the textbook. Takes from his pocket a reading glass. Now it takes out one of a reading glasses which is separately kept by him. He has taken out one of the reading glasses out of his pocket to read the textbook, and later, after taking reading glasses out of his pocket, he has adjusted both to suit him. Those reading glasses have been adjusted by him just to suit his enormous pair of glasses which he has put it earlier on his eyes, and he has made some adjustment on his enormous pair of glasses by putting his reading glasses as he starts reading, as he wants to read a textbook and opens his book. Now after putting his pair of glasses on his eyes, now he has opened his textbook to read it on. Donalara, I thought you were taking out a telescope. She has thought that it is of her opinion that now Donalara, she has commented Zunaito as he has kept a pair of glasses on his eyes. This has been observed by her. After having seen as he put his pair of glasses on his eyes, she has thought that you were only taking out a telescope. That much of an enormous pair of glass it is. Which means she has felt that he was taking out a telescope. Telescope is a magnifier that is being used by us to see the things at the little distances. That's why she has asked to see the, sorry, not a little distance, to see the things which is seen at the distant places. That's why after having seen his actions, Donalara, she has thought that he was only taking out a telescope out of his pocket. This is how she has commented Zuneto over here. Don Gonzalo, was that you? Don Gonzalo has told Donalara, asking that in the form of a question, asking that, was that you? Was that you, one who was taking out a telescope? In the form of an answer, though it was a question, he has asked Donalara that, was that you, one who takes out a telescope out of a pocket? Donalara, your sight must be must be keen. Donalara is of the opinion that after having seen Don Gonzalo putting his enormous pair of glasses on his eyes, she says that your eyes must be very keen. Keen in a sense, keen means clearer. Your sight, your perspective. How do you look at the object surrounding you? Your sight, your sight must be very clearer. Everything can be visible to you. This is what she is trying to tell Don Gonzalo here. Don Gonzalo, keener, yes, keener than yours is. Obviously, my eyes are sight, my eyes or sights are very keener than yours is. Now he says, now he tells Donalara that my eyes are very keener or clearer than yours are. Donalara, yes, evidently, it can be visible. Obviously or certainly it is seen, as I have witnessed you putting your enormous pair of glass on your eyes. I have already witnessed how much keener your eyes are, how much keener is your sight. That is evidently, which means that becomes one of the witnesses to me how keener your eyes is. Don Gonzalo, you go and ask the heirs as the heirs and patriarchs. Now he wants to console this Donalara. That's why Don Gonzalo has told Donalara, saying that you go and ask the heirs and patriarchs. Heirs in which means the rabbits, which means he wants to convey something to Donalara. He uses to go for hunt. That's why you go and ask the rabbits and patriarchs as well. Patriarchs, which means this is a kind of a brown bird having a short tail in it, which is frequently hunt for feeding. That is what we call the passages. Many people would go onto a certain direction for hunting those partridges. It is a kind of a little bird having a brown color in it and a short tail it has. It is such a bird. You go for more clarification to know more about my sight or eyes, how clearer or keener they are. To know about this, you go and ask those who ask heirs and patriarchs. Let us make a stop over here. I thank you all for listening to me all through the way. Thank you.